the Rockies have hired the guy from Moneyball, and I'm worried. But we have our own trio of Silver Sluggers that can help battle off the Colorado Rockies in 2026, and Ketel Marte, Geraldo Perdomo, and Corbin Carroll. Plus, we're going to talk about Mike Hazen's comments about some trades that we might see the Dbacks make for top prospects this offseason. Who could they lose? We're talking about who is and isn't untouchable in 30 seconds. Don't you go anywhere. Welcome in to you all. Happy Friday, live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It is the PHNX Dbacks podcast, and I am your mayor of PHNX, occasionally known as Derek Montilla. Glad to have you guys here. Happy Friday to you all. We made it through another week, the first week of the offseason. And just, 32 more to go? I don't know, Damon. It feels like we have so many more weeks to go before baseball is back. But we have so much to discuss today, and we're thrilled to have you guys here. And that is the incomparable Damon Dawg on the ones and twos. Of course, this show is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Go download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase on those already low last-minute ticket deals. Terms do apply. Before we get on with the show, I have to take a moment just to celebrate an amazing experience I had this morning with one of my best friends in the whole wide world. And honestly, this was a moment that I am very thrilled to be present for. And of course, it's somebody that we know here around here on this show. It is the one, the only Megaran, aka my buddy Raheem Jarbo. You may know him from our Mailbag Monday song, My Mailbox. You know that one, that little bop that's just an absolute jam. But of course, my friend Megaran has been working diligently, putting a lot of work into a series of children's albums that he made in honor of my godson, Buddy Zion. It is his adopted son, and he is somebody that's been very special in my life, his life, and he wanted to, of course, make some music that honored him. Little did he know that a few years later, on this morning, on Friday, November 7th, he would become a Grammy-nominated artist because his children's album, Buddy's Magic Treehouse, has been nominated for Best Children's Album. And I'm going to get choked up here because, again, my guy, Megaran, has been putting in a lot of work for a long time. He's a very popular artist in certain circles. Some of you might not be familiar with the music, but it's called nerdcore. And it tends to be about video games and anime, cartoons, things like that. And he's received some amazing opportunities. One of his songs was in Clerks 3. One of his songs is the end credits for one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles album or video games. He's had some very, very cool experiences. But the fact that this little boy changed our lives so much and changed his life and Megaran's wife Rachel's life so much is incredible. But more importantly, the work that Megaran has put into becoming a children's, kind of pivoting and becoming a children's artist in a way, was something that was very admirable. It was from the heart because he was a new dad. And honestly, his children's albums were some of the best music that he made. And it's just amazing to have, to see him get honored with this nomination. And it's incredible. Also, shout out to my buddy Felix, his producer on the album. These guys worked really hard on this. And again, it's just cool that not only are they changing the genre of children's music, but that, again, that they got nominated for this. So again, that's our guy. That's our Mailbag Monday song. So just such a cool thing to see happen. Argue. Oh, man. You know, honestly, one of the best human beings I've ever met. And I am just honored to be his friend. I'm honored to be the godfather to his adopted son. And I'm honored to see him finally get I guess, from my opinion, as one of his friends, it's him getting honored in a way that I feel like he's deserved the entire time I've listened to his music. So again, music can be very hard. The business of music can be very difficult. I, by proxy, learned a lot about how much you have to work in order to receive a nomination, a Grammy nomination like this. So just really cool overall, and I'm excited for his future because, again, he deserves this. So shout out to Megaran on being him when it comes to children's music. He is up against Tori Amos in that category, though, and I don't love his chances, but I will be behind him for sure, 100%. His album's way better than Tori Amos's. I'll tell you that right now. Just name recognition can sometimes get in the way. But speaking of name recognition, I am very nervous and worried about the individual that the Colorado Rockies have hired. Damon, did the Colorado Rockies really hire this guy? Did they really hire this guy? This other guy? Did they hire this guy? This guy? This is who the Colorado Rockies have hired? The guy from Moneyball, they hired this guy? I am concerned. I have concerns, Damon. The Colorado Rockies have hired Paul DePodesta to run their baseball organizations department. The team announced today, turning to the longtime executive to overall what could be said as a miserable organization that has had problems inside and out for many years, and they are coming off a 119 loss season. Paul DePodesta is the man that inspired the character of Peter Brand for the movie Moneyball. He has been working actually in football. He will leave the Cleveland Browns, where he spent the last decade as their chief strategy officer, returning to baseball, where he is a key figure in a very beloved baseball movie there, as well as somebody who is well known for what he and Billy Beane did there for the Oakland A's when they were the Oakland A's. But I don't love this, Damon. I don't love this because this is the exact kind of individual that could turn the Rockies around, and that is yet another team within our division that we would have to deal with. And I feel like if there is ever a team to Moneyball, Damon, it would be the Colorado Rockies. They would thrive, I think, Moneyballing.
It's the only way that they could thrive, Derek. I don't think that it necessarily means that they will thrive, but I definitely think that it's their only avenue to success, correct?
Yeah, it really is. It really is. It's the kind of person that they need. And RA's not wrong. He says you're worried about a guy who was an executive for the Browns for the past decade. Obviously he didn't do big things for that organization. So that's definitely...
I'll tell you what wasn't a savvy signing. Deshaun Watson.
Oof.
Bad signing. Probably the worst signing in the history of American professional sports.
Bad signing. Is David Njoku hurt right now? Because I bet he is. But he still wore a cool mask to the field today, I'm guessing.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
That counts as fantasy points, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of weird hirings going on around baseball. And I mean, this one actually isn't weird. It's just bringing back what people like myself perceive to be a legend back to the baseball game. I didn't even know what he was doing. I haven't looked him up in a while, but to know that he was taking over the Browns, again, that makes me a little less fearful as to what he could do here for the Rockies. However, this is a guy that very much understands the game of baseball and understands what can make a team successful. And perhaps his analytics, perhaps what we saw out of the movie that was real, which we really don't know because Paul had his name pulled off of that film to be a fictional character based on how he didn't like how it was being portrayed. He didn't like how sensationalized some of those moments in the movie were and how over the top they were. And that's just how movies are made sometimes.
Damn, he really is a baseball guy.
He really is a baseball guy.
That actually scared me way more than now that I know that he was out on the movie.
He didn't want the ex-Woba version of himself in the movie. Man. He wanted his actual slash line to be in the movie. Basically,
he might be him.
What he wanted. He might be him, and I might be worried. But again, bringing him back, he is a guy that does concern me, and again, especially here in the division. But the Padres made a very interesting hiring, bringing in Craig Stammen as their new manager. I might be butchering his name. Again, there's a Megaran song about that, and I should probably know how to pronounce his last name. But Mike Schilt, obviously, out as manager. He retired this past offseason, saying he wanted to take care of himself and exit on his own terms instead of being let go. And the Padres come off of a good season where they were 90-72 and made the postseason. But this is just an interesting hire due to the lack of experience that Stallman has. And I think, honestly, this is one of those situations where I am curious how a new manager who was just pitching in baseball not that long ago is going to handle that Padres clubhouse with a lack of experience. Now, again, maybe that's exactly what they need, or perhaps this is a disaster waiting to happen. I hope it's the latter, obviously, for us and the rest of the National League West, right? But overall, weird hiring. Even Jeff Passan said it was possibly the strangest hiring this offseason. The Atlanta Braves promoted Walt Weiss after Brian Schnitker and ended his 7-year tenure and won't return with the as the manager of that team. Again, Walt Weiss, another that's an internal hire that they felt like kind of would be a good balance, would be a good transition over from Schnitker, because it's somebody that has kind of that will reiterate a lot of the same teaching, a lot of the same philosophies than Brian Schnitker put in place in his time as manager of that team. The Washington Nationals hired get this, 33-year-old who has worked for the Rays organization for the past decade, Blake Butera. And I'm curious to see how Blake Butera is going to do, again, going from player to coach to manager to minor league coordinator, and then serving as senior director of player development for the Tampa Bay Rays. Now he is here he is, the choice. And it's an interesting choice indeed.
That's crazy, Derek. That's like I don't know if you've seen in the NFL the Jags GM. Have you seen the Jacksonville Jaguars GM?
No.
Look him up right now. I need a live reaction of what this guy looks like.
I should know this because of my attachment to Tony Khan and
True,
the Khans over there.
Your
the
buddy.
Owners. My good friend. You said GM, right?
Yeah, GM of the Jags.
Okay, and I'm just doing an image. His name is James Gladstone. What the hell is that?
So we would watch him around the combine when he got the job.
That's a general manager in football?
He looks like he graduated college yesterday. That's what it sounds like. Which team did it?
This would be excuse me. This is Washington Nationals.
That's I just assume that the Nationals hired like a legit kid straight out of college when I hear that they hired a 33-year-old.
Well, it's just wild because, again, I understand from a certain perspective trying to go with a different voice and a different approach, right? But I feel like, again, and maybe this is just because specifically we deal with Torey Lovullo and his experience and his age and the respect that he gets from the clubhouse. I can only imagine some of the players playing for a guy that's younger than them. Minnesota Twins hired Derek Shelton. Derek Shelton spent 5 seasons as the Pittsburgh Pirates manager. He was the Twins bench coach back in 2018 and 2019, and he returns to Minnesota. Now, that's a hiring that makes a lot of sense. Somebody that has major league experience, again, also for another struggling franchise, but major league experience nonetheless. And he comes back to the Twins where, again, he overall did not achieve much with the Pirates. But, again, the Pirates overall are a terrible franchise that struggle to win at any point. Hard to blame the manager. Don't hate the hiring there. But, again, some of these other hirings, questionable at best, but not the Paul DePodesta. He is a good hiring there for the Rockies, and one that definitely concerns me. But we have much more to talk about, including the Silver Sluggers and of course Mike Hazen's comments about trading. But I did want to go over, before we go to a quick break, the Diamondbacks roster moves that have been made already in the month of November, because you might have missed it, but there have been some roster moves that have been made. On November 2nd, Zach Gallen, James McCann, and Jalen Beeks all became free agents. On November 3rd, the Arizona Diamondbacks declined their option for right-handed pitcher Elvin Rodriguez. And most of you might say, who was that? That was somebody who the Diamondbacks picked up off of waivers, claimed off of waivers late in the season this year. And then, of course, this was the kind of most interesting part. On November 5th, the Diamondbacks Kyle Nelson was outrighted off the 40-man roster, became a free agent, along with Connor Kaiser, John Curtis, and Casey Kelly. All four of those players were outrighted off the 40-man roster, and they all become free agents. They did tender a qualifying offer to Zach Gallen yesterday. Ildemaro Vargas has elected free agency, so he will go to free agency. And Austin Pope was outrighted off the 40-man roster, and he becomes a free agent as well. So as it stands, that's all of the moves. Then the Diamondbacks had to reinstate all of their 60-day injured list guys. So that's Blake Walston, AJ Putt, Corbin Burns, Christian Montes de Oca, Christian Mena, Justin Martinez, Tommy Henry, Kevin Ginkel, and Pavin Smith. So those guys are all back essentially on the 40-man roster, and the Diamondbacks have some moves to make this offseason, obviously, to fill that. Deborah asks, when did Gallen have to give his answer by? I believe that date was November 18th. So Gallen can test free agency. He can see what offers now that they can talk to other teams, what offers he can get out there, what the market is looking like for him, and then he can decide if he wants to accept that qualifying offer or not. That one's still up in the air. I feel like fans are very divided on that. I know a lot of fans really do like Zach Gallen and appreciate, what he's done for this organization, feel like he still is a better pitcher than he was in 2025 and want to see him back for at least 1 year to help this team win during a difficult season as far as their roster is concerned. But there are people ready to move on from Gallen, and I can understand that specifically after not just this season, but his body of work from the postseason 2023 beyond. So I don't know, but I do feel like Gallen accepting that qualifying offer does fix one problem, but then kind of causes another one as far as the remaining budget the D-backs have going forward. But see, even in the chat, RA says Gallen will bounce back. And meanwhile, Christopher says Gallen has been inconsistent since the World Series. And that is the thing. You could definitely say he's been inconsistent. However, when he's good, he's great. And when he's great, that's where it makes you feel like you don't want to let a guy that's still capable of being that good at times, as he was against the Yankees, as he was against some of those big opponents throughout the season. So again, not a terrible thing if he decides to accept that qualifying offer, but I still think it's not likely that he will. I still think that some team will believe in him as much as as much as the Diamondbacks believe in him. So maybe even more so. We're going to take a quick break, and on the other side of this break, we are going to talk about the Diamondbacks sluggers winning those awards, franchise record, 3 Silver Sluggers. We're going to get to those guys on the other side of this break. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondbacks show. Well, if you need a place to look as, I guess as much in your team gear as I am right now, look at this. The Suns have never been more back, baby. I love you, Jalen Green. If you need to get yourself fitted for some new Suns gear, check out Rally House.
They have to have Jalen Green jerseys.
They have to have Jalen Green. You have to. I'm so glad this jersey is back, by the way. I know it's not going to come back ever again, but for this one season, I can enjoy the fact that I already had the new City Connect jersey before it even dropped. That felt good. But what also feels good is having all of this amazing team gear that I have. Of course, as Damon said, I will show up to your wedding in team gear, and that's because Rally House always has me fitted. Rally House has all of your game day needs. If you're going to a tailgate, they got you hooked up with drinkware, signage, coolers, socks, Band-Aids, baby diapers. It doesn't matter. If you need gear like I'm wearing, they got your hats, they got your jerseys, they have everything covered. And they only carry Arizona sports teams too. So find your local Rally House. They have locations in Tempe, Mesa, and Glendale today. And then shop their entire product assortment online at rallyhouse.com right now. Also, if you're an Arizona sports fan, there's no better place to do your banking than Desert Financial Credit Union. It's the only place you can show your team spirit every time you make a purchase with exclusive debit cards branded with your favorite teams, including those Arizona Cardinals, Arizona State University, and Northern Arizona University. And for more than 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicated to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community and providing financial solutions that help make your life better. They helped make my life better. They got me started with my first mortgage, and I was thankful that they got me into that home. And refinancing was a breeze through Desert Financial, allowed me to get a better interest rate and lock that in. And now I am very, very satisfied with my housing situation. You can be too. You check out Desert Financial. You can look to Desert Financial for checking and savings accounts, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and so much more. And when you open a free checking account online, you can get $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200 today. All right, Damon. Well, we already did a quick trending pod last night about it because we were so excited. Most importantly, we were excited about the fact that Damon wasn't going to have to go to jail. Now, I was
100%.
going to talk my way out of it. I would have been vandalizing some buildings and maybe lighting a few fires, and I probably would have been able to lie to the authorities
Maybe
and
blame
make them
me.
believe. But I wouldn't even have any need to blame you. But Damon would have just spit in police officers' faces. Did you have anything to do with this fire? David would be like, I started the fire.
I might take one for the team. I'll be honest.
Yeah, no, I mean, 100%.
It means that much to me.
Well, especially Geraldo Perdomo, and I know he means more to you than most people, including me, and I'm fine with that. But the Diamondbacks did have a franchise record, 3 Silver Slugger winners, as Ketel Marte wins his 2nd Silver Slugger in his career. Geraldo Perdomo and Corbin Carroll both take home their first. They have all been named 2025 Louisville Silver Slugger Award recipients. And Ketel Marte, of course, had himself, I'm not going to say his best season, but even with a lot of turmoil, and I mean a lot, right? Like Ketel just had a lot of
For sure.
side quests, a lot of things that, just a lot of unnecessary.
Side quest is hilarious.
Side quests is the best way.
Is that what you call going to the Dominican Republic in the middle of the season?
That's what I would call it for sure. That's why I called going to Puerto Rico during the All-Star break.
Sure.
So he can call it whatever he wants. But there were a lot of distractions for Ketel, from the heckler that went after his mother, the robbery, which is a legitimate distraction, a terrible thing to have happen during the season, even if you were in the Dominican Republic instead of at home taking care of it. And again, the scrutiny that he was under this season, but he still becomes the first Dbacks second baseman to win multiple Silver Slugger Awards. He ranked among National League leaders in OPS. He was 4th with an .893 OPS. He was 5th among NL leaders in on-base percentage at .376, and he was 8th in slugging at .517. And he was among MLB's top leadoff hitters since 2024. His .929 OPS ranks 2nd only to Shohei Ohtani. He is among number 2 hitters in the National League. He ranked 3rd in average slugging, OPS, and homers. And he recorded a team best 26-game on-base streak, the 2nd longest of his career, behind his 30-game on-base streak that he recorded in 2023. And then, of course, we also have our baby boy, Geraldo Perdomo, winning his first Silver Slugger Award, and he ranked among the NL leaders in everything.
Do you want these stats up there?
Yeah, let's take a look at what exactly these guys did this year. I mean, they all 3 of these guys deserved it. We knew it. It's why we talk about rioting. We didn't want to riot, but I felt like we had to riot if these guys didn't get recognized. Perdomo ranked first in B-WAR for position players at 7.0.
Insane.
Second for Fangraphs WAR at 7.1. His offensive B-WAR was 2nd at 6.8. His on-base percentage was 3rd, 389. His B-WAR was 4th at 7.0 overall, including pitchers. He had 173 hits, which was 4th in baseball. He was tied for 4th in walks at 94. His batting average of .290 was 5th in all baseball, this is all in National League. This doesn't rank in the AL. Excuse me. He had 100 RBI, which was 7th in the National League. He tied for 8th for runs at 98. He had an .851 OPS, which was 9th, and he tied for 10th most doubles at 33. He led the National League in post the All-Star game break in on-base percentage and times on base, and ranked 3rd in average at 325 and 949 for OPS. He just was incredible. He was the only Major League Baseball shortstop to log a 100-plus RBI season, and his 173 hits ranked 4th overall. He became the first D-back shortstop in franchise history to have a 20-plus home run season and a 100-plus RBI season, and he set career bests in virtually every category that every major offensive category. And then Corbin Carroll also creating history himself for this franchise. 4th D-backs outfielder, which seems odd. Just the 4th Arizona Diamondbacks outfielder to win a Silver Slug Award. David Peralta won one, Justin Upton won one, and Luis Gonzalez won one. That's it. And it just feels like with some of the outfielders we've had in our history that we would have more than that. But just the 4th in history for the Diamondbacks outfield, and just the 1st in his career for Corbin Carroll.
It feels like Upton would have had multiple for sure, or at least Gonzo. It feels like those two in particular would have like 2 or 3 in their pocket in D-backs uniforms.
We've just had some sluggers out there at times, so it just kind of surprises me. But again, it's more about the overall performance, and that's when you look at the body of work for Ketel, Geraldo, and Corbin Carroll, they did it all season long, and they all put up historic seasons that really haven't been done before, right? I mean, Ketel really didn't, but Geraldo Perdomo and Corbin both made franchise history.
Yeah, I mean, I think Corbin Carroll and Geraldo Perdomo, and this is a organic thought that just happened right now. I think that they both cemented themselves on the all-time D-backs starting 9 in this season.
Yeah,
Ketel was already on it.
I agree. Yeah,
Ketel was already on it. But I think that if you're putting together a starting 9 of D-backs lineup here, I don't see a world in which Corbin Carroll is not probably your center fielder with Gonzo and Upton in the outfield, and Geraldo's probably your shortstop with Ketel at second base. It's beautiful. What a world.
How do you not have a trio of special hitters like this and build around it? How do you even consider like some sort of tear it down and rebuild it? I just think that it just proves how good the core is of this team. You also have, a few other guys that are here for a few more years that could be considered part of that core. I still think that Gabby Moreno can turn things around. He had his share of struggles this season, his share of injuries this year, but I would love to see Gabby also be kind of in this mix with these other 3 guys. But how do you not have, for the first time in franchise history, 3 Silver Sluggers, one of the best offenses in baseball this year, and not want to figure out how to build around that? It's the reason why Damon was right, what he said the other day. We already almost feel like we're waving the white flag on 2026, and there is no reason that this team shouldn't be able to compete if they're able to add some pitching to this team. Not to mention the fact that they have the reinforcements that they have on the horizon that should impact this team immediately once they rejoin this team around the All-Star break, and then you have no idea really what this team could be. And I just said the phrase "this team" 4 times, including that one right there. And I think I should get glockenspieled anytime I say it anymore for the rest of the episode.
What's crazy about this as well, Derek, is if you look at, potentially the winner at third base as well, Manny Machado hit 275, 27 bombs, 95 RBI. I think if you could make the argument that Eugenio Suarez maybe wins that award as a 4th Diamondback out of the 9 players that win a Silver Slugger, for sure, if he had stayed the entire season, which is even more wild to think about.
And you could also say, like, overall that, like, Gino was really bad when he went to Seattle for the rest of the season. Like, he really never was what he was when he was here. So you don't really know what his final numbers could have been had he not gotten traded. It felt like that trade kind of made him, I don't know. I mean, it put him into which it could have absolutely happened here, where he just goes into a slump, which we know he's very streaky. Lourdes is very streaky. It's not that uncommon for that to happen to him. So it wouldn't have been a surprise had it just happened to him while he was here. It made the trade feel a little better that it happened to him once he went to Seattle. But yeah, you're right about that. There's no knowing what he could have been, and we could have had four this year. But
Gino strikes me, and I think you would agree with this. He strikes me as the type of player that, like, he likes being comfortable. And when he feels good in Arizona and he's telling the media, hey, I want to stay here. I love it here. And then he gets upped and moved in the middle of the season. Like that's going to mentally affect him in the way that he's, goes to the plate. Right. So
Yeah.
I think Gino, if he stayed, there's no reason to believe he wouldn't have continued just mashing bombs.
I agree. Jason in the chat asked how many games did Ketel did it and missed how many games. Ketel played 126 games this season. So he didn't miss a ton, and some were missed due to injury. And that whole situation kind of got overblown. However, at the same time, I don't know. We work in an office like this. If Damon called out because he needed to take care of a robbery at his house and then posted pictures on Instagram of him in San Diego with the boys on the beach, I would probably be pretty upset with him. Not for a long time, but for a day or two, right?
That actually sounds like something I might have to try to pull off now.
Right. And see, it wouldn't be him posting it. It would be a friend of his tagging him in it, which would then cause it to show up on my timeline, even though we don't actually follow each other.
I know that,
like that.
I know that it's obviously we're being tongue in cheek, but I do think that element of exactly what we're talking about was kind of underplayed by people that were defending Ketel. It's like no other person in any other job in life could ever do something like that and get away with it.
Yeah.
So to act like it's just, okay, well, maybe he just needed some time off after the All-Star break. It's like, could you do that at your construction job? Could you just say, hey, my house got robbed. I'm going on vacation. No. And not take PTO. I don't think it works like that. So
no, it doesn't. But Christopher is not wrong. He said the trade rumor affected the whole team, and I think that the entire situation kind of affected the whole team. However, you could also look and see that they did kind of galvanize shortly after that. It did take the trade deadline coming and making everything miserable for them before they could figure out a way to get around it. But again, this is another reason why, taking a step back to Perdomo, why Perdomo, what he does for this team isn't just measurable here in offensive statistics that he can win an award for. What Perdomo did for his teammate Ketel was huge. And what he does as a captain, as a leader of this team, is big considering how young he is. Meanwhile, Corbin Carroll just kind of leads by example. He's not exactly a vocal leader. He'll never be that, but Corbin became the 10th player in Major League history to reach 30-plus doubles, 15-plus triples, and 30 or more home runs in a season, joining a ridiculous list that includes Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig and Hank Greenberg and Joe DiMaggio and Stan Musial and Jimmy Rollins. But there's a lot of things that kind of coincide with Jimmy Rollins, including what Geraldo Perdomo did as well. But he had a Major League record tying 4 multi-triple games, and he set career highs in home runs and triples. He had 31 home runs, 17 triples, which is a franchise record. He became the first Diamondback all-time to record a 30-plus home run, 30-plus stolen base season. These are all the reasons why these guys were shoo-ins for these awards, and these are the reason why me and Damon would have had to quit doing this podcast if they didn't get recognized, right? Recognition, as I covered earlier with my friend Megaran, is extremely important, right? I mean, it goes very far for these guys as individuals, but quite frankly, during a season where we didn't have much to celebrate once it was over, it's nice to see this offense that was a top 5 offense in baseball this season get recognized for how special these 3 guys specifically are. But they need some help, and we're going to talk about that on the other side of this break. Mike Hazen made some comments in an article from Steve Gilbert over at MLB.com. We're going to talk about the Diamondbacks perhaps making some trades, which prospects we will not allow them to trade. We will refuse. Once again, we'll pull out the riot card, and we're going to do that on the other side of this break. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Well, Pure Edibles was founded right here in Arizona, and they are available in dispensaries all across the state. They are a full-fledged candy company making more than just gummies, and that's that's what most of these companies do, but Pure Edibles isn't like most companies. They have a wide variety of candies, including hard candies, chews, soft candies, and their version of Starbursts that they call Kicks, all with a wide variety of effects and flavors, some delicious flavors that you can try out. Those effects, by the way, are clearly listed on each tin, so you know exactly what you're getting into before you bite into one of their delicious candies. And of course, you can try out all that they have to offer, including their new collaboration with one of the best breweries in the state, Mother Road Brewing Company. They have a new collaboration that they're calling Noble Road. And thanks to Noble Road, we get the Tower Station IPA all-in-one, where it is hoppy hour all the time. The new offering captures the crisp citrus and piney hops of Arizona and Derek's favorite IPA, but with a smooth THC twist in an all-in-one device. No pouring, no waiting, just a good tasting high whenever you want it. So go find yourself some pure edible products from one of over 130 dispensaries across Arizona. And for more than 15 years, Access Insurance Agency of Arizona has provided affordable and reliable car insurance to drivers in the Phoenix metro area. As a dedicated part of the local community, Access Auto helps Arizona drivers get insured by offering flexible coverage options and accepting various forms of IDs, driving histories, and license types. By partnering with over 20 insurance carriers, they make it easy for you to compare rates and find the best policy for your budget. They have bilingual Spanish-speaking agents at 9 convenient locations across the valley, making it easy for Access agents to assist customers in finding the right coverage for their budgets and identifying available discounts. Both cash and card payments are accepted for added convenience. Access Auto, trusted by the community, rooted in Phoenix, and ready to help. All statements are subject to terms, exclusions, and conditions of the applicable policy. In all instances, the current policy contract language prevails. Coverage is subject to individual policyholders meeting underwriting qualifications and state availability. Other terms, conditions, and exclusions may apply. Well, as we briefly touched on yesterday, according to this report from Steve Gilbert over at MLB.com, Mike Hazen has said he is open to dealing from the top of the organization's prospects list if the return is right. And again, this is something that we've kind of talked about when we have referenced the Diamondbacks making some trades instead of just exclusively going to free agency to find the help they need. Now, the biggest problem that we have kind of addressed is that the trades would require the Diamondbacks to part ways with guys that are going to hurt, guys that are going to make us sad, guys that we do not want to necessarily see traded. As much as many people want to kind of callously and casually say, well, just trade away Jake McCarthy, Pavin Smith, and Alec Thomas. No disrespect to those guys, even though that's what many of you mean in saying that, but those guys aren't necessarily going to get the Diamondbacks in return what they're looking for. They are not going to provide the equal value in a trade, and that equal value is usually an unknown value. In this case, we're talking about the prospect kind of aspect of a trade where you really don't know what a prospect is going to be at a major league level. So that makes it a far more compelling trade offer or trade, chip to throw in there, right? And that is why Mike Hazen is talking about dealing from the top of the organization's prospects list should the trade be right. Mike went on to say, I don't want to do that, but I think at some point, if I'm going to get somebody of value, I'm going to have to give up value. It's just what it is. I don't know what the market is going to look like trade-wise. In the article, Jordan Lawler and Ryan Waldschmidt were both identified as potential trade candidates. However, I don't love that, nor do I know if it's worth risking Ryan Waldschmidt, considering he could be a member of this outfield as soon as 2026. Or if Jordan Lawler right now at this time in his present state with his present track record is going to get the value that you are seeking. And that's another problem, is that it might be a buy low situation right now on Jordan Lawler. There are other guys that are at the top of that list, guys like Slade Caldwell and Demetrio Crisantes, who could be traded based on how highly they are valued in the system and where they play. And then the Dbacks do have other key prospects that play similar positions, like Ryan Waldschmidt in the outfield, Tommy Troy, that could still be the future of the infield for this team. But again, it's just a very interesting article. It's a very interesting frame of mind, and it's something that it almost feels like it's setting us up for the potential for one of these top prospects to be moved. Now, when you start looking at that top prospects list, start breaking down who is and isn't untouchable. As far as I'm concerned, I feel like Ryan Waldschmidt is untouchable. Please do not trade Waldy. Plus, we might have a situation where they bring back Goldschmidt, so we have Waldschmidt and Goldschmidt on the same team at the same time. Don't rob us of that. Don't take that away from us. Plus, I feel like Ryan is going to be a special player. I've had a chance to see him play quite a bit in person, and I just feel like he's the real deal. I also feel like the Dbacks cannot afford to trade away any of their pitching prospects just due to depth, just due to trading the way they're pitching depth. That means a guy like Cole Drake that they just recently acquired, or Mitch Bratt, even David Hageman, who we're going to talk about how he fared in his last fall outing here shortly. But I don't think any of those guys, I don't think a Patrick Forbes, a Christian Mena, or a Daniel Egan are all in jeopardy. I think they are all safe because, once again, I don't feel like the Diamondbacks have the pitching to trade pitching. They did stockpile quite a bit of pitching prospect, though, over, at the trade deadline. So, again, some of those guys, if the deal is right, I understand, especially if the return is for more pitching, especially major league ready pitching. And that's really what the Diamondbacks need to figure out, is how can they turn these prospects into major league ready pitching. You have certain guys that you feel like are untouchable, and quite frankly, it might just be due to their value and where they were, drafted. You're not just going to convince another franchise to give you what you want based on you trading them a number, top overall prospect, a top 5 prospect, a Drew Jones or Jordan Lawler. These guys are still seen as the future of this organization. And quite frankly, I don't think either guy has been doing well enough that would get you a return. They would almost have to be part of a package. And you might just end up seeing one of your top prospects in your organization go flourish elsewhere. And that's a concern, right? Ernesto says, I hate the idea of trading Lawler, but if there are legitimate injury-prone concerns, I have a feeling he'll become a doubles machine, and this team needs someone like that. I, for the most part, really like Jordan Lawler and truly believe in him. I also believe in a lot of guys in this organization. I think Drew Jones is coming around, and I think he is going to eventually. It's going to take more time than other prospects have taken, but I think Drew Jones is going to make it there, and he's still only 20 years old. You got Jordan Lawler, who's 22. You got Tommy Troy, 23. And again, Tommy Troy, I think, is another untouchable piece. But there are certain pieces within the organization that might be tradable, might be part of a package. We've seen Jack Hurley quite a bit in the Arizona Fall League. He is a guy that I don't really know where he is going to fit in the organization and get playing time, but he has solid overall tools, and he's just blocked by too many players in the outfield. And again, AJ Vukovic, he's another guy I think the Diamondbacks have seen really, kind of develop into a good player. He has good athleticism. His approach at the plate has been improving, and he could be moved if the Diamondbacks end up adding a third baseman and not moving Jordan Lawler, not moving Blaze Alexander. But there's again quite a few guys there at the top of their list. Yansel Luis, he's another guy in the Arizona Fall League that could easily be a piece that they move, just because, again, as much as they need some of these guys for depth, they are kind of stacked at certain positions. And if things remain the way that they are, it remains unseen when they're going to be getting playing time. I felt the same way about Blaze Alexander, though, a few years ago, and now Blaze has become very valuable for this team. He was the talk of trade talks in the past. I don't believe that he is on the table right now at all, but again, he is a guy that if the Diamondbacks are blown away by an offer that includes him, probably wouldn't be untouchable, right? It still feels though like it's going to be some of these guys, like maybe an Ivan Melendez, perhaps a Landon Sims, guys that have looked sharper late, guys that have again come around on their development, but have still had their struggles. I could see an Ivan Melendez bat really appealing to a team that perhaps needs a DH in the future. But again, I don't know where he would fit in with the Diamondbacks. Another guy, catcher Christian Serta. I think the Diamondbacks have a lot of young depth at catcher, and he is a guy that has a solid defense and a good offensive upside. But again, he feels like he is kind of blocked there at catcher, and it feels like he could be a logical trade candidate as well. The Diamondbacks, still rank in the top half of baseball in MLB farm depth, even after promoting guys like Jordan Lawler and others. And their core, as we talked about, is locked in and young. So again, that makes some of these prospects that might be close to the same age as a Corbin Carroll or, a Geraldo Perdomo a little bit more, I guess, just overall, they might be able to be traded just due to that fact of when are they going to see playing time, right? But of course, pitching needs to outweigh everything. Pitching depth right now for this team needs to outweigh any redundancies they have, and that's the reason why when you look at their top prospects that are available, any position where they have multiple young prospects right now that could fill, or that you still is like kind of a mystery as to when they're going to get playing time, could be part of these trades to bring in pitchers. And again, not sure of how much, how many prospects the Diamondbacks and Mike Hazen are willing to move. But again, there are certain guys that you can't help but feel like have to be untouchable. And Damon, I know that Drew Jones would be kind of a question mark for you, but am I right in saying that the value that you're going to get in Drew Jones is not going to be nearly worth what his potential could be as a major leaguer?
As far as I'm concerned, yeah. I mean, maybe not even the potential as a major leaguer anymore. Who knows? Like, can this guy even swing it at that level? But
right.
Is it worth trading when he was at one point a top 100 prospect, top 50